Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence, Lord.
All right, so I'm going to tell you a joke, and if this joke is funny, then it's because of the way it was delivered, right? If it's not funny, I want you to know that my mother gave me this joke and told me to tell this joke this morning. And if it's not funny, then all the tomatoes need to get thrown over there, right? So I just want to make sure that we're all prepared for this. But here's what happened. There was this boy, all right? And he turned 16, and he's kind of all excited about turning 16. He goes up to his dad and says, you know, Dad, I'm 16 now. And since I'm 16, I think I should have a car. I really think I deserve a car. Can you give me a car? And Dad says, yeah, Ian, I don't know. You know, I mean, we're going to have to talk about this, and I'm not getting you a car now. Here's the thing. Your grades aren't great, right? So you got a C in math. That's going to have to come up. Also, you know, you don't read your Bible ever, so that's a problem. You're going to have to fix that. So there's all kinds of issues. The last thing, though, is that your hair is just, what's the deal with your hair being so long? You need to cut the hair, right? Or else, so he goes for a while, he goes off, and he goes and he does his stuff with school, and he comes back. It's like a few months later, and he's got his new report card. Dad, look at it. Come on. I need a car, man. I need a car. He says, well, let's look at things. Let's talk about this first. So we got, let me see your grades. And he looks at it and says, oh, okay, you went up from a C to a B. That's good. All right. So we've increased there. And I'm not even going to worry about the Bible thing, because I've noticed every morning you're spending some time reading the Bible. He says, but your hair. What is the deal with your hair? Why is your hair still long? I told you to cut your hair. He goes, Dad, here's the thing. I've been reading the Bible, and I've noticed that all of the people that are in the Bible, they all have long hair. So Moses has long hair, and Elijah has long hair, and Jesus has long hair. And if they all have long hair, then I should have long hair. And he says, yes. And Moses and Elisha and all those, they walked everywhere that they went. Right? We'll give credit to my mom. Thank you. There you go. Now, our official joke, whether it was good person, is Lynn. Was that one all right? Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Why do I bother? All right. Well, what we do here at SonRise is we just go through books of the Bible. I don't, try to just tell you a bunch of stuff. I go through the Bible and I preach from the Bible. And so if you got a Bible, you can open it. If you don't have a Bible, you can look up here. We're going to be throwing stuff up on the screen. But we're in a book called the Book of John. And let me give you, the Book of Mark, I'm sorry. And let me just give you the gist of kind of where we've been so far, to give you a little context so that you know, because not everybody may know these stories. So what Jesus has been doing is he's been teaching and he's been telling all these stories. They're called parables. Okay, and so he told like a story about, he was telling a story about different kinds of seed, which and different kinds of soil. The soil represented different kinds of hearts and stuff like that. And he does all this teaching, but these crowds, he's been healing people and doing miracles. And because of that, they're crowding on him. So what he did, he's teaching all these stories on a boat. He took this little boat and he put it out in the water, right? And so there's a little bit of a gap, so he's got and all these crowds are there watching him. Well, he tells all this, and I didn't know what was up, whether he was just tired or what, but at the end of all of his stories, he says, you know what? Let's just go to the other side of the lake. They're on the Sea of Galilee, and he wants them to go the 6-mile trip to the other side of the lake. So they hop in the boat. He doesn't take a change of clothes. He doesn't take a cell phone. He doesn't go get anything. Just as he is, it says they go. And as they're going, Jesus is like snookered out, man. He's just like so tired, and he's sleeping. And he's right? And he's on the boat, and all of a sudden this huge squall comes, this huge storm comes, and these fishermen that are in the boat with them are scared of the storm. I've known a lot of fishermen in my life living out in Seattle. They don't get scared of storms. They've seen every kind of storm. These guys wake Jesus up. They're so afraid of the storm and say, Jesus, don't you care that we're going to die? You got a problem right there if you accuse Jesus of thinking that he doesn't love you and that you're going to die. Because that's a problem right there, right? So Jesus gets up, he calms the storm, and they're just like, oh my goodness, what in the world? This must be God. This must be God. They then get to the other side. And that's where we came last time. They get to the other side, and immediately, right? Immediately, that boat gets to the other side, and he's met by this guy that's naked. A nude dude. A nude guy comes out of the graveyard, and he's like a crazy guy. And he comes charging at Jesus and falls down on the ground in front of Jesus. If a naked guy charges you, okay, and then falls down in front of you, just run. Just run. But if you're Jesus, he doesn't do that. Jesus says, all right. And he talks to him, and he tries to cast out demons. This guy's got demons. He doesn't have one demon. He doesn't have two. He's got thousands. A legion during this time was 6,000 men. 6,000, right? Demons in this guy. And so when he asks them, the demons, they kind of puff themselves up, and they say, we are legion. There's many of us trying to kind of be confrontational. And Jesus basically says, forget it. You're getting out of here. And what happens is they beg Jesus, the demons do. They said, let us go into these pigs over here. 2,000 pigs. I went to public school, 3,000, 2,000, 6,000, 2,000, that's 3 pigs per, right? I think so. I think I did my math right. And they go, and they all go and they drown themselves. All these. After that happens, they say, Jesus, we don't want you here. You just killed 2,000 pigs. We don't want you here. Leave. And so when people ask Jesus to do stuff like that, Jesus says, okay. And Jesus, he doesn't say, no, I'm God, I'm going to stay. No, he says, you know what? Sure, I'll leave. If you don't want me, I'll leave. And so he picks up and he gets in the boat and he leaves and he goes to the other side again. He's only been on this side for like 2 hours. And then he travels to the other side and he gets there to our story today and he's met again. Look at what it says here in Mark chapter 5, verse 21 to 34. It says, when Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. Now, how did they even know he was coming? I don't know. There's other boats out there, something like that. I know how the demon knew that they were coming because the demon knows what's going on in the supernatural. He knows. He knows all that Jesus is doing. He can see. But these people don't know. Right? They don't know. It must have been a boat or something, but they come. And they're waiting for Jesus. It could be, and it wouldn't surprise me, if when Jesus left, they just camped out and stayed there thinking eventually he's going to come back because I've got, Uncle Fester's over here, and he's got some really bad disease that nobody can heal, and I'm just going to wait here for a day, 2 days, 3 days, until Jesus comes back and heals him because I have no other hope for healing. It goes on and it says, then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him, my little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and live. So Jesus went with him. All right, so this guy is what we call, he's a synagogue leader. He's not a priest. He's not a Pharisee. He's not a scribe. But he's in the religious system. Okay, so what he does is kind of like what Janice did before I moved here. You had that year where you didn't have a pastor. Janice was kind of like the person who would organize who was going to speak on Sundays, and then she kind of just managed everything, right? She kind of took care of, I think that's fair. And that's what the synagogue leader does. He doesn't really speak, but he comes and he does that. He makes sure the building's in good shape. He kind of just manages everything. But this guy's in cahoots with the religious leadership, right? He's in with the system. He agrees with the system of religion. And what does the religious system think about Jesus? This is something people don't understand a lot about Jesus. They think that religious people love Jesus, and that's not true. In the Bible, religious people never love Jesus. The religious people are the enemies of Jesus. They're always after Jesus. They're always trying to get Jesus. They plot to kill Jesus, and they're ultimately the ones who crucify Jesus. Okay? Religious people are out to get Jesus because Jesus isn't about religion. He's not about rules. He's about grace. He's about love. He's about saving people. Right? And the religious people are about, look how important I am. Look how powerful I am. Look, you need to be respectful to me because I'm religious. And because I obey the rules and I have all this power. And that's not what Jesus is about. And so they don't like him. But this guy who's coming to Jesus, he's coming to Jesus even though he's in cahoots with these people. And he said, well, how come? How come if he's all religious, he's in cahoots with all the religious leaders, right? And they hate Jesus. Why would he come? Why would he come to Jesus? Why would he do that? He should say, well, I'm not going to that Jesus guy. Here's why he comes to Jesus. Because it's his daughter. Okay? We find out in another passage, it's his only daughter. Now, you've got kids. You got kids. You got a daughter, right? Or you got a son. And maybe your kid's, 11. Cooper's 12. This guy's little girl is 12. She just went through the whole bat mitzvah thing for girls that now she's a woman. Just went through all that process. This guy is just in love with his daughter. This girl is his entire life. And now she is at the point of death. He's going to lose her. Like there's no stopping it. No doctors can do anything. They can't figure anything out. She's going to die. His only daughter. And here's the problem. His religion can't fix the most devastating thing in his life. This is why he comes to Jesus, not because he's pro-Jesus. He comes to Jesus because his religion can't fix his problem. And I would say that to you as well. Your religion cannot fix your problems. Religion and rules does not fix us. Right? Being good and gritting my teeth, I'm gonna impress God today, does not happen. That doesn't work. Right? He says, I'm willing to set aside because I love my daughter so much. I'm scared. I'm horrified that she could die. So the first thing is that religion can't fix the most devastating thing in his life. But the second is that he truly believes that Jesus can. And the reason he believes Jesus can is because he lives in this town. And he has seen person after person after person after person come to Jesus, people that he knew when he was in grade school, that couldn't walk, people that were blind. He's watched over and over, and there's so much to verify the fact that he has just healed these people, like Bruce. He's been sick since he was like 3. He's been to every doctor in the world. They've took him to the other side of the Sea of Galilee for healing. They've taken him here. Nobody can heal him. He comes to Jesus. Jesus touches him once and he's healed. And so sometimes there has to be some type of tragedy. Sometimes there has to be something that just like rips your heart apart in order to get you to say, I'm willing to let go of all the entanglements of religion in order to say, you know what, I'll just trust you. I'll just trust you, Jesus. That's what he does. And he comes to Jesus knowing that there's religious people here. Right? That's the scary part. There's still religious people around, aren't there? Religious people know this is the synagogue leader. And their pastor isn't going to be acting like a pastor should act. Right? They'll have to cut his pay. Right? Maybe kick him out of the synagogue. Because he's going to that Jesus guy. Right? That's not good. He doesn't care. Why? It's his daughter. And he knows that Jesus can heal her. So he says, please come put your hands on her. Right? Come put your hands on her, touch her. The idea is if you will touch her, that somehow she will be healed, right? he's kind of superstitious in a sense, right? I mean, there's nowhere in the Bible that says that Jesus has to touch somebody to heal him. It doesn't even say that he has to be in the same room with somebody. We have another place where there's a centurion. It's a soldier that's over 100 soldiers, and he comes and the centurion says, you don't even have to come. Just say the word, and I believe my daughter will be healed. And he just says the word, and he goes home, and she's fine. So this is just kind of superstition that's happened right here. One of the things that, and you probably notice this sometimes on Sundays, one of the things that happens quite a bit is because we're all here on Sunday, lots of people will come to talk to me on Sunday, right? Well, I'll be talking to one person, right? And you'll think, oh boy, I hope he's listening to me. And I am listening to you, but sometimes it's hard because there's another person standing right over there and they're looking at me and I can tell they're waiting to talk to me, right? Right? And then there's another person over there, and I know they're waiting to talk to me. And then somebody comes in and butts in right in the middle of the conversation and says, listen, I ain't waiting to talk to you. I'm talking to you now. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry. And you're trying to manage all that kind of stuff. And that's what's happening to Jesus. Here, this guy has come for healing. Jesus says, you know what? All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to go with you. We'll heal your daughter. He picks up. He starts going, right? And as soon as that starts going, how do you think he felt? He said, oh, my goodness. My daughter's going to live. All of a sudden, whew, this big relief. Because he knows he's not going to lose his daughter. It says a large crowd followed and pressed around him. There's tons of people. They're clamoring to have Jesus heal him. But Jesus says, I'm going to go. And it says here in verse 25. It says that a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. That's interesting because this little girl is 12 years old. So at the time when this problem happened in her life where she started to be hemorrhaging and have this flow of blood, that was the same time when this little girl was born. Like all this started at the exact same time. And it says she had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors. Been there, right? You've been there? You're like, man, I went to the doctor. How are you feeling? Oh, I feel way worse, right? That doctor is a nightmare. If you talk to EJ, right, she'll tell you that it's always worse, right? You go to the doctor, it's always worse. I don't think it's always worse. I go to the doctor, and sometimes it's good. But look what it says here. It says she had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors. And this is before they really even understood a lot of medicine, right? It says she had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had. But instead of getting better, she grew worse. Yeah, been there, right? That's why I don't ever like to go to the doctor, right? I'm like, I'm going to spend all my money. Like, I'm afraid. So when I fell off the roof, I'll just tell you this. When I fell off the roof, the first thing I thought of is, how much is this going to cost me? And I said, I don't want to go to the ER because I know the deductible for that. It's like $1,000 in my insurance to go to the ER. And I'm like, if I just go. So that's why I ended up going to the urgent care. It was like $40. And I said, I can do that, $40. Like my arm's falling off, right? I can't walk. Oh, I'll save $40, right? I was just freaking out. But anyway, I get this, right? She spent everything. Yeah, I'm going to be healed. I might be healed, but like I'm completely broke, right? That's the scary thing. That's what's happened. When she had heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. And so she comes all stealth, right? She comes all stealth. She's like, comes in on the side. And all the crowds, people bumping into Jesus and trying to get to him. And this chick's like coming in all stealth, right? And she's like touches it. And when she touches it, she can feel all of a sudden, she just can feel that she's healed. And then she's like, oh, I'm healed. And so she's like sneaking back, right? She wants to get out of there. Uh-oh. What does it say? Let's keep going. She came behind him in the crowd, touched his cloak, because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. She thinks that she can be healed anonymously. She thinks that she can get something from Jesus with Jesus not knowing about it. You catch that? I'm going to get something from Jesus, but he won't know. I'm going to steal it from him. I'm going to swipe my healing from Jesus, and he won't know. I can have this without having any kind of personal anything with Jesus. I want from Jesus, but I don't want there to be anything personal about this. I don't want him to acknowledge me. I don't want him to tell me what to do. I don't want him to be a part of my life. I don't even want him to know that he did it. And Jesus doesn't work that way. Jesus doesn't work that way. You can't just kind of get from Jesus or be a part of Jesus without him. Jesus is involved. He knows. He loves. He's intimate with us. And it says at once, Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" And then she said, "Oh crap." That's in the Apocrypha. No, that's a special Greek. Special Greek. She said, "Oh no," right? She touched him, and Jesus. This is the only time we ever see this in Scripture. Only time we ever see it. It says that power left his body to heal it, and he felt that. Think about that for a second. I've been thinking about that all week. That for Jesus to do anything in our life, Jesus is intimately involved and understands and feels and experiences it. Like when Jesus died on the cross for me, Jesus physically felt and understood that he was dying on the cross for me. He felt that. When he imputes his righteousness to me and gives me righteousness that I don't deserve, right? Just because I trust him. Jesus experiences that. Jesus isn't anonymous. It's all personal with Jesus, right? It's all very personal with him. And he watches this and he says, "Wait a second. Power has left." And his disciples are looking at him saying, "Dude, you just been bumped into 30,000 times in the last 5 minutes, and now somebody touched you? And they didn't even touch you. They touched your clothes? Come on, Jesus. Come on. What you talking about, Willis? What are you doing?" And all the while, you've got Jairus. This is the thing that just kind of breaks your heart. Jairus is there. He's got a daughter about to die any minute. And all of a sudden, you got this rude lady that comes in here begging for healing that's delaying Jesus. They were on the way to Jairus' house, and all of a sudden, some lady stops and touches him, and now Jesus, he takes a sidebar. "Oh, hey, somebody touched me. Jesus, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We got stuff to do, right? My daughter, let's go. Come on. Wait a second. We got all the time in the world. Power left me. Power has left me. Somebody's been healed. That's not anonymous. He knows who it is. Jesus knows who it is." And he said, wait a second. Who is it? Why? Why does she have to come forward? Why does he want her? Because this is for her, right? Come clean. Make this personal. Confess. Confess that you had a need. And confess that I am the one that's bringing healing. Confess that. Make it vocal. If you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart, you shall be saved. Here he is. Jairus is over there saying, dude, this is just taking way too long. You know, she was about to die. I mean, we're in a rush. We're in a rush here. But Jesus cares about both Jairus, the religious guy, and this woman, the poor woman that, Let me tell you a few things about this woman and how her and Jairus are different. Jairus is a man. She's a woman. We got that one. We figured that out, right? We went to kindergarten. He is well respected in town. She's not respected at all. As a matter of fact, she can't even go into the synagogue. She can't be around her family because she's had this flow of blood, this hemorrhaging. She has been isolated. She can't go into the temple. She can't ever go to church. She can't go to her family's house. She can't hug her kids. She can't do anything like that because if she does, they're immediately considered unclean by the religious people. Okay? And so she's been isolated. Her life is just in turmoil. And she's lived like this for 12 years, like kind of by herself. And everybody looks down on her and says, I don't want her even around me. She's got to sneak in here. Right? She's sneaking in to get in and out because that's how she lives. She lives by sneaking around without people knowing she's there because otherwise she's unclean and they're unclean. It's this big thing and now we got to have paperwork and we got to do this. I don't know what's going on. And so he's a man, she's a woman. He's respected, she's an outcast. He's a religious leader, she can't even go to church. The joy of his life started 12 years ago. The horror of her life started 12 years ago. He's doing well. He's doing financially well, man. Back then, they took care of their people and religious leaders. That's powerful. That's almost like a government job, right? That's an important deal. Right? He's got 3 pensions, right? I don't know about that. She spent all her money on medical bills. She's got nothing. She comes completely privately, not wanting anybody to know. He could have come privately, but he comes publicly. Because he's ready to come that way. He's willing to do it. She believes that he believes that Jesus has to touch daughter, right? She believes she just has to touch his cloak. Verse 31, it says, Jesus' disciples say, you see the people crowding against you, the disciples answered, and yet you can ask, who touched you? Come on, Jesus. There's all kinds of people here touching you. You've been touched a million times. What are you talking about? Somebody touched you. But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet and trembled with fear. Told him the whole truth. See what happened there? She was just scared. She was scared. She said, I can't get away with this without Jesus knowing. Jesus knows. Like Jesus knows everything about me, right? He knows everything about you. He knows all the good things. He knows all the bad things. Like he knows all that. But he still needs us to confess it and to say, this is where I am and this is who I am. For our own sake, right? She says, oh my goodness, she's freaking out. Why? Why require this fess up? Look at Jesus and say, Jesus, you're mean. Hey, Jesus, you're pretty mean. This woman, she's got this kind of embarrassing thing going on with the hemorrhaging, and she's an outcast and all this. And now you want to all of a sudden she gets healed, and now you want to make some public deal about it and embarrass her. That's not very nice. Shame on you, Jesus, for trying to embarrass this woman, right? But he wants her to be saved. He doesn't want her to be just healed. He wants her to be saved. He wants to know her. He wants to have a relationship with her. He wants to love her. He wants her to have a relationship with him. In order to do that, she needs to be honest about herself. She needs to be honest and have a real conversation. And we find out here at the end that she is, in fact, becomes a believer. Because it says that she has peace, and it also says, mainly it's just that she has peace and peace in her body. That comes from this. but also that she has put her faith in Jesus. She trusts Jesus. What does this have to do with you? What does this have to do with me? To me, as I look at this, I look and I say, man, there's a whole lot of honesty that I see a few things. First of all, that religion has nothing to do with any of this. This all has to do with our relationship with Jesus. Coming to Jesus and saying, man, I'm in a bad position. Both people come to Jesus out of desperation. We usually come to Jesus to begin with out of some type of desperation, some type of crisis of life. Whether it's my daughter that's 12 is going to die, or I'm at my end of my rope and I have no more money left and I've spent everything trying my own way to fix this and I haven't been able to. And finally yielding and saying, I have no other choice. It happens all the time. I see it all the time. Where it's some crisis that comes. And it doesn't matter who the crisis is. It doesn't matter if you're the person who's ultra holy, that their life is an unbroken upward spiral toward holiness. Right? It doesn't exist, by the way. Or the person who's just desperate and doesn't even care about themselves, doesn't love themselves, just is hurting in there. It was interesting to me as I read this to see that Jesus was on his way somewhere. Like all the people, they're all coming. And Jesus is on his way to do healing. And somebody comes and he says, no, we can stop. She's important enough to stop. You're important enough for Jesus to stop. But Jesus, you're busy. You're on your way to heal somebody. That's really important. You're going to heal a little girl, and this guy's life is in the balance, and this girl's life is in the balance, and she's going to be... But I can handle them both. Let's stop and talk about this. Let's be personal about this. He's willing to stop for you. That's how much Jesus loves you. He is willing to stop. Everything's going on right now. God. Hey, hold it. Hold it. Tracy said something. Oh, wait a second. Alan's got a problem. But he's really busy. No. I got time. And Jairus is pulling his hair out. Come on. Come back next week. We'll find out what he does with Jairus. That's a whole nother story. It's healing interrupted. Healing interrupted. It's like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Is she going to live? Is she going to die? I can tell you she's going to die. She dies. Sorry, Mom. Hate to tell you. She dies. But we'll see how Jesus handles that next week. So, hey, thank you so much for coming. We've dove into God's Word a little bit this morning. Thank you for being here. Next week, though, we'll dive into the second half of this whole story, because we're in the middle of one story, but the healing happens, and we got sidetracked. Jesus sidetracked us on this lady, but Jesus cares about it. Jesus loves us. He's good. He does great things for us, and he's going to stop for you. He's going to stop for me. Okay. God, we thank you for this morning. Can we have the band come up while I'm doing this for a final song? Oh, how he loves me, you and me. So, God, thank you for this morning, and thank you for everybody's here. God, we bless you. We thank you. God, speak to our hearts, God, and God, we come to you right now. God, we come to you not as religious people. We just come to you as people that are broken and people that are sinners and people that know we don't measure up to some perfect standard. And at least that's how I come to you. And somebody that knows that there's no way I could earn some kind of salvation or earn being good enough to somehow be in your family. God, but I know you love me. I know that you died on the cross for me. God, I serve you and I try to follow you. God, I love you. God, help me to grow. Help us all to grow in our relationship with you. God, we pray this in Jesus' name.
I walked under the blood-red moon, and I've seen those wolves gather round, and I've spent some time with the devil.